security and justice sector reform was also born out of this need. Similarly, good governance, sharing revenue responsibilities, transfers, and carry out public functions with our federal member states also led to an economic reform agenda and the inclusive politics agenda. Our reform path has ultimately led us to service delivery. In order for us to sustain the benefits of our reforms, to grow our economy, to improve key sectors, and most importantly, to enhance government legitimacy, it is inevitable that we also give due attention to the reform of the social service sector. While this sector is wide and will require critical attention, whether it is in regard to education or health, I have zeroed on water as it unlocks the most potential in the immediate term. In order to fully appreciate how significant water is in Somalia's reform and resilience efforts, I present to you a brief background. First, out of Somalia's estimated population of 15 million roughly, only 24% of the population is able to access improved water sources, one of the lowest in the world. Interestingly, the estimated available water in the country is 14.7 trillion liters, while our natural withdrawal rate is estimated at 3.3 trillion liters. I'm sure the reasons are obvious to many here tonight, least of which is inadequate infrastructure and poor quality of water supply systems. But what is very clear is that water is not entirely scarce, but infrastructure, institutions, and systems are lacking. A joint study between the federal government of Somalia and the African Development Bank in 2014 identified the gaps in the water and sanitation sector as limited infrastructure and weak institutional capacity. The effects of water scarcity are felt in all aspects of the society. It is a major impediment to our economic growth and recovery initiatives, as it denies us the opportunity to maximize output in agriculture, business, and livestock. In the security domain, scarce resource repeatedly contributed to tensions and even violent confrontations among pastoralist communities, leading to an already fragile context even far more fragile. The severe and very difficult droughts that we face also make the victims susceptible to recruitment into violent and terrorist groups. Yet, millions of donor funds are annually spent on water resource interventions. Ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, excellencies, I would therefore like to thank today or tonight those here who have made substantial contributions to this sector and who are still trying to make a tangible impact. Today, we're here to debate the way forward with a vision that in the next 5 years, we should all try and plan to have a nation that is water sufficient and able to manage our water resources in 5 years. A more coordinated and joined up approach to my government reaching out to the partners to establish a comprehensive national water resource strategy plan that will help in the promotion, planning, monitoring of the water sector. This strategic plan is a much-needed initiative and will strengthen coordination and provide a structure and priorities for a reformed water sector, focused on needs and deliverables. The government will be relevant when it provides basic services such as access to clean and affordable water to its citizens. This will not only provide water for consumption, but also contribute to both economic reform and mitigate violent conflicts and impact the effects of the droughts we've been seeing over the past years. An investment in water is an investment in economic empowerment, safety for women and children, peace and stability in human rights, and confidence building towards state institutions. We are therefore asking tonight our partners and stakeholders to strive towards supporting our government in fulfilling this critical mandate. I am therefore here with you to kickstart this debate tonight, and I hope this debate in 5 years' time will give us a different Somalia on all aspects because of the strategy we will start debating. Shall I ask Minister Fawzia first to say a few words, then Minister Said?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مدن رئيس الوزراء مدحda sharafta leh وفودا مدن المرغوين وعايدكم السلام عليكم إسلامك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. waxaa sharaf weyn ii ah inaan hadal ka jeediyo shirkan looga hadlaayo amuuraha biyaha ee Soomaaliya. waxaa si dhab ah u aaminsanahay in shirkan uu ka qayb lixaad la ka qaato in la helo dadaallo dhinacyo badan oo ku aadan ciribtirka abaaraha iyo fatahaadaha, xal u helista cimilada saameeya biyaha, iyo in la xoojiyo wadajirka sare loogu qaadayo horumarinta kaabayaasha dhaqaalaha ee biyaha si loo helo horumar ay bulshadeena gaarto. Mudane Ra'iisul Wasaare, martida sharafta leh, mudanayaal iyo marwooyin, maanta anigoo hortiina taagan waxaan si cad u arki karaa fursada jirto qarankeena wuxuu ka soo baxay marxalad adag, laakiin waxaan sidoo kale aan galnay xilli rajo leh oo lagu dhisaayo maamul wanaag horeyna loo socdo, taasoo ah in Soomaaliya ay diyaar u tahay inay ka qabato wax aan ugu yeerno xaaladda isbedesha. marka laga hadlaayo biyaha iyo horumarka aan idin siinayo tusaalahaas waxaa ka mid ah abuuritaanka guddiga kheyraadka biyaha. ujeedka laga leeyahay guddiga kheyraadka biyaha farsamada ayaa si fiican isu waafajinayaan barnaamijyada iyo mashaariicda socdo iyo qorsheynta biyaha, in la soo bandhigo xaqiiqooyinka ku saabsan baahida mudnaanta leh ee biyaha iyo caqabadaha jira, in la kordhiyo wacyigelinta biyaha iyo in la xoojiyo iskaashiga jira. guddigan wuxuu ka koobnaan doonaa wasaaradda qusaysa arrimaha kheyraadka biyaha. mudane ra'iisul wasaare, martida sharafta leh, mudanayaal iyo marwooyin, dhowr bilood ka hor ra'iisul wasaaraha Jamhuuriyadda Federaalka ee Soomaaliya mudane Xasan Cali Khayre wuxuu qaatay in biyaha uu yahay ahmiyadda ugu waaweyn ee dawladda federaalka ee Soomaaliya, iyo sidoo kale in la sameeyo qorshaha istaraatiijiga kheyraadka biyaha ee qaranka. tallaabadan ayaa ka soo baxday falanqeyn ku saabsan xaaladda guud ee dalka, dhinacyada biyaha iyo horumarka. waxaan jecelahay aan lahaan lahaa si daahfuran idinku ifiyay muddadii la soo dhaafay maalgelinta arrimaha biyaha ee Soomaaliya. ma jiraan isku xir u dhaxeeyay deeq-bixiyaasha iyo dawladda federaalka, mana jirin kala horumarin ahmiyadda jirta iyo wada shaqeyn. waxaa lumay fursado badan, Soomaaliyana waxaa maara looga waayay arrimaha abaaraha iyo fatahaadada, qofna kuma faraxsana xaaladaas. mudan ra'iisul wasaare martida sharafta leh mudanayaal iyo marwooyin istaraatiijikada marka la soo koobo waxay sameyn doontaa jiheen dhanka biyaha aasaaska mabaadi'da fogfog ee hagi doona fursadaha maalgashiga ee kheyraadka biyaha ee Soomaaliya waxaan u mahadcelinaa taageerada dhaqaale iyo farsamo ee hay'adaha horumarinta qaramada midoobay UNDP iyo bangiga adduunka World Bank ee qorista istaraatiijiga fogfog ee kheyraadka biyaha ee Soomaaliya mudan ra'iisul wasaare martida sharafta leh mudanayaal iyo marwooyin marka laga eego aragtida dawladda waxaan u arkaa isbedel muhiim ah waxa ka soo baxay istaraatiijikadan marka hore biyaha waxay noqon doonaan gole dawladeed oo isku xira wasaaradda tamarta kheyraadka biyaha oo hormaraayo midda labaad waxay awood siin doontaa maalgashiga badan ee loo baahan yahay kheyraadka biyaha mudanayaal iyo marwooyin 6 bilood gudahooda waxaan yeelan doonaa istaraatiijikadaas fogfog ee isticmaalka kheyraadka biyaha iyadoo lagu saleynayo baahida hadda jirta iyo kuwa fogfog dhammaantiina waxaan idinku martaqaadayaa inaad ku soo biirtaan geedi socodka horumarka leh ee xiisaha leh kana mid noqon doonto mustaqbalka dhow inaan helno biyo aamin ah iyo Soomaaliya barwaaqo ah waxaan idinkaga mahadcelinaa inaad maanta halkan joogtaan oo aad dhageysataan erayadan ku saabsan horumarka biyaha ee dalka waana ku mahadsantiin sida wanaagsan ay dhageysateen
Wazir Said, Minister Said.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister of Federal Republic of Somalia, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to join you today to discuss an important subject for the Ministry of Agriculture. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy, contributing about 60 to 70% of our GDP, 80% of employment, and 60% of our exports are driven from agriculture. I'm glad to share with you some few statistics about productive sector in Somalia. We have 8.9 million hectares of arable land. We have 3 main rivers, Shabelle, Juba, and Dawa, which covers 2,300 kilometers of our main states, Hirshabelle, Southwest, and Jubaland. We were the largest exporter of banana in Africa before 1991. Somalia is currently the 7th largest producer of sesame in the world. We have the largest export of livestock in the world, recorded to 4.6 million in 2015. We have the longest coastline in Africa. We are ranked number 1 in Africa in wind generation potential, excellent conditions for solar generation, excellent tropical climate and soil for production of food and cash crops. We have currently 600,000 hectares of land under irrigation. Somalia's economy is largely agricultural-based economy. Production is mainly food and cash crops with grains, pulses, fruits, vegetables, and oil crops being produced by most of the farmers. From an economic point of view, our trade balance is negative as we import food value of more than 2 billion annually, and marginal exports of sesame and dry lemons. The Minister of Agriculture is working to reverse this trade imbalance by increasing agricultural productivity. However, the availability of water is a precondition for agricultural development and food production. The crisis of food security linked to flood and drought is a striking feature of life in Somalia. Given the climatic regime of the country, with its erratic and irregular rainfall nature and high potential evaporation losses, the water requirements of the crops are generally high. Over 80% of the total water withdrawal in Somalia is for irrigation. Due to the low level of infrastructure development in Somalia, a small percentage of our available national water is developed for economic use. A total of 10 barrages were built on the Shabelle River and 1 on the Juba River. The 10 barrages are probably the most significant pieces of irrigation infrastructure in Somalia. They were constructed to increase the water depth in the river and divert the flow of irrigation purposes. Most of these barrages are in very poor condition as we speak. The Somali government with its development partners are currently working to rehabilitate irrigation infrastructure, which is a key for food production, and I would like to appeal to the donors present here to consider funding the very large-scale irrigation infrastructure. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the federal government of Somalia has recently passed an irrigation policy that has been approved through a consultative process. The Minister of Agriculture is equally in the process of establishing an irrigation body under which key infrastructure shall be implemented. To improve on irrigated agriculture, there is a critical need for the rehabilitation of our barrages, primary canals, and other related irrigation infrastructure. Though the northern, eastern, and central regions of the country do not have flowing rivers, they are rich in underground water, which if explored, provide enormous opportunity for agricultural production. Irrigation development and agricultural production in Somalia are evidently contributing to the peace building and security enhancement. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude my remarks, I would like to acknowledge the support we receive from our multiple partners present here today, and we thank you on behalf of the Somali people. I look forward to have a close collaboration and working relationship between our implementing partners and the Ministry of Agriculture. Thank you very much.
Before I give you the floor, Jim, I want a few minutes to our federal member state presidents, and then I will hand over to you.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ra'iisul Wasaaraha Dowladda Federaalka saaxiibkay madaxweynaha Hirshabeelle Mr. Warar, wasiirada federaalka iyo wasiirada dowlad goboleedyada, all international community. Assalamu alaikum. Anigiyo madaxweyne Warar waxaan inta u nimid shirkii annaga berri buu ahaa, laakiin prime minister kan uga mahad celinaynaa waxaa muhiimadda ay noo leedahay ajandahan laga hadlayo oo biyaha darteed yaan u nimaanay deegaanada aan ka nimid dhibaatada biyo oo ka jirta Soomaaliya. Dhibaatada ay qabto waxaa waaye biyo la'aantana dhibay ku tahay, biyaha markay yimaadaana dhibay ku tahay. Markii biyo la'aanta ay jirto, biyo la'aan baa loo dhammaanayaa. Markay biyo yimaadaan oo roobabka ay yimaadaan iyo webiyadana daadadka dadka dhameeya, marka waa laba dhibaato. Biyo la'aanna ma fiicno, biyana ma fiicno. Intaba waxay u baahan tahay xal dawladeed inay helaan. Waxyaalaha ugu daran oo hadda gobollada aan ka nimid gaar ahaan koonfur galbeed saameeyay biyo la'aanta, xoolihii iyo beerihii iyo wax soo saarkii waxaa ka daran bini'aadankii baa biyo ay cabbaan la. Magaalooyinka gobolka Baay iyo Bakoolba, degmada Buurhakab, hal ceel ah oo biyo ay ka cabbaan ma leh. Hadduusan roob imaanin, dadkaas 40 kilomitir oo isku weera oon bay u dhammaanayaan. Magaalada Baydhabo 900 kun oo qof joogto, 2 ceel baa ka shaqeyso. Marka xilligan oo kale la gaaro, biyo la'aanta bilaabat. Dadka deegaanadaas degan waxay ku nool yihiin wax soo saar iyo beeraha. Beerahaas waxay u baahan yihiin roob. Sidaa la socotaan muddadan dambe roobka aad u yaraa. Marka in wax la soo saaro iska dhaafe ma la awoodi karo in haataa biyo la cabo oo xoolaha iyo bini'aadanka ay helaan. Waxaa loo baahan yahay in la gaarsiiyo dadka si wax soo saarka loo dhiirigeliyo meel kasta oo dhul beereed ah in laga helo ceelal biyo oo wax soo saarkii lagu sameeyo. Marka biyaha waa nolosha muhiimadeeda bini'aadanka ay ka bilaabato, ama security ha noqoto, ama nolol ha noqoto, ama wax soo saar ha noqoto. Waxa ugu horeeya oo muhiimka noo ah waa biyaha weey. waxaana keenay caawa muhiimadda ay leedahayna biyaha laga hadlayo weeyo inaan annagana message-ka annagaan dhimin. Dadaalo badan ayaa la suubiyey oo ay suubiyeen dowladda federaalka UNICEF, African Development Bank oo waday qorshe ah biyo-gelin loogu samaynayo degmada Baydhabo, IOM oo shaqo fiican ka waday, Save the Children oo ceelka ugu dambeysay samaysay, dadaaladii tirada badnaa oo internationalka ay ku caawinayeen dadkan oo biyaha loogu samaynayo ayagana waa ku mahadsan yihiin, laakiin waxaa muuqato inaysan ku filnayn biyo la'aanta iyo duruufaha deegaanadaas ka jiran ay zaa'id. Si marka waxaasoo dhan looga hortago waxaana diyaarinay oo dowladda federaalka aan ka wada diyaarinay qorshihii loogu samayn lahaa siyaasaddii biyaha. Tii baan rabnaa marka in laga wada shaqeeyo annaga iyo dowladda federaalka hadduu ilaahay yidhaaho. aad iyo aad u mahadsantihiin. waxaan ku soo dhawaynayaa saaxiibkayga dhammaystira.
President Warar.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Prime Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. As my friend mentioned, we came to this very late event at the invitation of His Excellency the Prime Minister as a reflection of how crucial and important this issue is for us. I'll be very brief. Much of the substance has been covered by the ministries and the remarks of the Prime Minister and the President of Southwest. I just want to highlight a couple of points. As you know, water resources and water management is part of the conflict in Somalia. Competition for water resources, friction over water resources. Just as water is part of the conflict, it can also be part of the peacemaking process and the reconciliation process. Therefore, an investment in this sector, an investment in water resources can go a long way towards making peace between communities, because nothing reflects a peaceful situation more than a community or a couple of communities or 4 communities sharing a borehole, a water point, or a water resource. The second point I would like to make is that despite what many people might perceive on the surface, that Somalia is a dry country or an arid country, we have plenty of water resources for our livelihoods and our development. Where the gap is in fact investment in management and in infrastructure. As has been mentioned by the Prime Minister and my friend Abdulaziz, we often find ourselves in cycles of water deficit and too much water. The Shabelle River, which passes through our 2 states, in the last few years has been experiencing bouts of dryness and flooding. We have approached the Prime Minister's office and his ministries to fashion a protocol for water management on the Shabelle River. And in fact, to initiate a dialogue and engage our neighbors and our friends in Ethiopia so that we can have a better grasp on how to manage this important resource for both of us. When that issue, Excellencies, reaches your good offices, I appeal to you and I'm confident that you will put enough influence and pressure to ensure that we can have an amicable management for the river. I remember as a young agricultural officer taking every day river recordings of the Shabelle Valley, even at the height of the 1977 war between Somalia and Ethiopia. So if we could cooperate on river management during the height of the war, there is nothing to prevent us from collaborating and working on it at a much more amicable environment. Thank you very much, Excellencies.
Thank you very much, President Warar. James Swan of the UN.
Prime Minister, Presidents, Ministers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First, thank you for your leadership, Prime Minister, in convening this meeting to raise awareness of the important issue of water. And let me briefly offer a few reasons why this is such an important topic. Based on the statistics from our team, only about half of the population of Somalia has access to a basic water supply, and that drops to only 28%, or about 1/4, for those living in rural areas. Lack of access to safe drinking water poses a huge challenge for public health. According to the World Health Organization, waterborne diarrheal diseases are responsible for more than 50% of under 5 child morbidity. So it has huge health consequences. Moreover, as has been noted, the recurring droughts and flooding also have had a devastating effect on the agricultural sector, on which so many Somalis depend for their livelihoods. And with the increasing effects of climate change, almost certainly this will continue to worsen. Water insecurity is also a major underlying cause and driver of local-level conflict across the country, as communities compete for dwindling resources. If left unaddressed, this insecurity may lead to further instability. Looking even beyond Somalia's borders, transboundary water issues can also be a significant factor in either regional cooperation or regional instability, as countries of the Horn of Africa forge stronger bonds with each other. So we should put water at the top of the list for cooperation. The United Nations and our implementing partners play a major role in responding to water shortages and acute needs. In 2018 alone, our efforts, along with implementing partners, supported nearly 800,000 people in Somalia access clean, safe water. And so far in 2019, by the end of August, more than 500,000 people had received such assistance. But while this humanitarian assistance is necessary to save lives, it's also unsustainable and it's not sufficient to address the causes and effects of water shortages and insecurity in the long term. So, improving water governance is central to economic and social development and will be key to unlocking Somalia's full potential. We welcome, therefore, the inclusion of water management as an issue in the Mutual Accountability Framework. We're pleased to see the government has committed to develop a national water resources plan and establish a water development fund. For its part, international partners have committed to provide financial and technical support. We also welcome development of a national integrated water resources management strategy that will bring together our efforts collectively. We stand ready to support these initiatives to build the capacity further of federal and federal member state governments to improve water governance and to conduct activities related to watershed management. We agree completely that investing in water must be a priority if Somalia is to build resilience and stay on the path of development, and we look forward to collaborating. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Felipe, the World Bank.
Thank you. Thank you very much, His Excellency Prime Minister. I want to also salute the presidents of the regions who are here, Her Excellency, the Minister of Energy and Water, and all of you here present tonight. I want to first congratulate you, Your Excellency, and welcome this initiative. I am very happy that in my first trip here, I focused on this issue of water. I've had a chance to have a discussion with the minister, and I congratulate you for raising the profile of this very important issue for Somalia. We strongly agree that if Somalia is to break the current cycle of drought and flood, a long-term strategy is necessary to address the causes rather than just the symptoms. Water resource management is I think we all agree, fundamental to poverty reduction and to human well-being. And rainfall is, unfortunately, destiny for the poor. But managing water is not easy, as global experience shows, and particularly in countries that suffer from water shortages. Water is not any kind of good. Water is a social good, is an economic good, is an environmental good. And as the president of Hershabel was reminding us, it also crosses boundaries and it becomes a transboundary issue. When water is scarce, like in Somalia, having institutions and clear rules to manage trade-offs in the use of water is vital. It's particularly important to ensure that trade-offs are deliberate and that they're made with clear social and economic and environmental consequences in mind. Research shows that water scarcity can become a major brake on economic growth, with some research showing that it can bring GDP down by up to 6%. It also shows that good policies, smart policies in water, can have a positive impact on the overall economy. So that's why we very much welcome the Minister's vision of a 21st century data approach. We believe that smart and well-informed decisions are critical to building resilience, and data is vital for smart decision-making. The World Bank is committed, fully committed, to supporting the strategy. Since 2012, we've had a pilot water investment in northern Somalia. Now we have the Biole project ready to scale up with an investment of over $40 million from IDA grants. And if this project succeeds, we look forward to scaling it up as a major national program and a central pillar of this strategy. Let me finally say that we're also supporting Somalia's dialogue with neighboring countries over shared waters. As the president of Hershabel indicated, this is a complexity that is really important to address. And in the Horn of Africa, water is a broad regional resource. Most of Somalia's surface waters flows from beyond its borders. And we, the World Bank, along with other development partners, will explore how regional investments in surface and in groundwater in the Horn of Africa can build collective resilience for Somalia and for all. So, Your Excellency, you can count on World Bank support for this hugely important initiative that will allow Somalia to take back full control of the water agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Nils, Germany.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the Prime Minister, honorable ministers, distinguished representatives of the federal member states, dear delegates. Thank you very much for giving Germany the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of the Somalia Development Partners Group, which we chair together with Norway. Let me highly welcome this side event. The input clearly underscores the strategic value of water for Somalia to further develop the economy, boost food production, and enhance the life perspectives of its citizens. Let me appreciate the dedicated steps the government has taken to highly prioritize water for Somalia and its citizens. This side event, the Mutual Accountability Framework, as well as the recent steps to enhance sector coordination, reflect this. That prioritization is a strategic choice out of three reasons. First, the water sector could further our strategic thinking about the links between humanitarian, resilience, and development actors. Second, the decisions around water to be made in the next months until 2020 can and should be a real force for regional cooperation and stability, as well as for national integration. Third, water is key for tackling major challenges in Somalia, like adaptation to climate change, as well as rapid urbanization. Adequate access to drinking water, sanitation, and water for production is a major challenge for the livelihoods of the Somali population. The key to that will be integrated and comprehensive approaches to water. For example, realize an integrated river basin management with Ethiopia in the future, especially regarding the Shabelle River, as it was highlighted also by the representatives of here Shabelle. Crucial policies like the National Water Policy and the National Water Law are well underway and support the much-needed conducive environment of the sector. Water also prominently features in the new National Development Plan and in the MAF 2019-2020. Crucial elements are needed to be successful. Allow me to mention 5 crucial elements. First, a conducive sector environment which regulates public and private sector interventions. Second, a coordinated approach of all major actors in the water sector. It is the government to be in the lead. The recent first stakeholder workshop was a very good first step. This can ensure similar standards, processes, avoid overlaps, and waste of resources. Third, connected to that, the involvement of all stakeholders, including civil society, in the development and implementation of respective interventions, thereby creating the grounds for local ownership and sustainability. Fourth, a strong focus on water quality, on sustainable operation and maintenance of water-related investments. This includes targeted assistance to develop well-functioning water utilities, but equally cost-covering tariffs for drinking water as well as for water for production. Fifth, last but not least, independent sector regulation is crucial for creating trust by the private sector for investments. Development partners stand ready to support you in these areas. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Can I now invite the African Development Bank, Hussein Yusuf?
Your Excellency, Hassan Ali Khaire, Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Honorable Ministers, representatives of the development partners, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I wish to thank the government for hosting this timely side event on water resources, for the warm welcome to the Somalia Partnership Forum. The water and sanitation sector needs assessment completed by the African Development Bank, as you mentioned in 2014, considered key sector challenges and recommended improvements to alleviate acute sector weakness and deliver tangible results in the short to medium term as part of an overall effort to improve the economic well-being of Somalis. The key challenges identified by the sector needs assessment include poor enforcement policy and weak regulatory framework that does not augur well for adequate and systematic sector development, uncoordinated sector activities, institutions, inadequate sector financing as government funds are limited, thereby resulting in donor and private sector-driven investment, and finally, inadequate delivery and operation of water and sanitation infrastructure. Given the foregoing, the development portfolio includes 4 projects at the present: improving access to water and sanitation in rural Somalia, $11 million; Kismayo Paidawa Urban Water Supply Project, about $12 million; water infrastructure resilience in Somaliland, $7.5 million; and water resource management and investment plan of $3 million, which aim mainly to improve access to rural and urban water supply and sanitation infrastructure, strengthen institutions and build capacity for service delivery, and map groundwater resource to provide an updated and more reliable data on aquifers, including aquifer monitoring and management to avoid overexploitation. Key achievements today: construction and rehabilitation of 5 earth dams, rehabilitation of 26 boreholes in various parts of the country, rehabilitation Office of the Water Ministries and agencies, and federal states level, drafting of a water policy for Southwest and Jubaland states, and finally completion of water resource management plan for Somaliland. Key ongoing works include development of mini water systems and groundwater monitoring activities. Excellence, ladies and gentlemen, the African Development Bank supports the need for a water resource strategic plan for Somalis. As this will guide the strategic development of the sector in the country, we will collaborate with our development partners such as the World Bank and other bilaterals in providing consultancy supports to this initiative. The bank will also continue to mobilize resources for investment in the country for the water sector through the multi-party Somalia Infrastructure Fund. The bank also finally plans to rehabilitate the Johar office streams storage scheme, which will represent a major step in resuming agricultural growth and development, enhancing food production, employment, and reducing damage from annual floods. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
We thank the UN and the World Bank, Germany, and the African Development Bank for these contributions. Can I now invite for a short intervention? First, Norway.
Thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you for organizing this event. Like others have said, water is a key sector to consider when adapting to climate change, taking measures to prevent humanitarian crisis, conflict, and instability. The lack of perennial streams combined with an arid climate in much of Somalia results in groundwater being the sole water resource 95% of the population depends on. In reality, however, a significantly lower share of the population has access to improved water sources and sanitation facilities in close distance. Severe and more frequent droughts have had and will continue to have huge impact on the agricultural sector as well as displacement. With this rationale, and in close cooperation with the Ministry of Energy and Water Resources, Norway is initiating a project to undertake a comprehensive study of the potential of deep groundwater in Somalia. This project is divided into 3 separate phases. The first phase is a desk study based on existing seismic data. The second phase is validation drilling at potential locations. And eventually, the third phase is a final technical assessment with development of a water management infrastructure. The results of the desk study will be used to guide the development of the deep aquifer potential in Somalia. And this project is based on successful experiences from a similar program in Tanzania. And it utilizes information and technology from the oil sector. And nearly 2 years ago, 4 ministries participated together with me on a mission to Tanzania to look at this specific project. If this initial assessment phase yields positive results, we strongly believe the next phases may increase water access, providing opportunities and further contribute to better drought resilience and adaptation to climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivian. European Union.
Already, I thought it was Egypt.
Yeah.
Prime Minister, thanks a lot. Excellencies, President of the Federal Member States, ladies and gentlemen. I can be extremely short because everything has basically been said. I just want on our behalf to welcome this event that emphasizes the importance of investing in water resources, enabling inclusive and sustainable economic growth, which is essential for the future prosperity of Somalia. The EU already supports the the water sector with several projects, and indeed I think we have been financing the Somali water and land information management system that was referred to by several speakers, and we also have a number of concrete and specific projects in the area of urban water supply, infrastructure, irrigation systems for agriculture. But I also want to highlight the importance of the transboundary aspects that has already been highlighted. And in this context, I think we are also with UN, one of the first donors that are actually funding concrete cross-border programs between Somalia, Kenya, and Ethiopia in this area. It goes without saying that we are committed to continue our support to the water sector development in the coming years. So thanks a lot for inviting us.
Thank you very much. Italy. Sorry, I have a list here. When I conclude, then I will come to the rest.
Egypt now?
Italy.
Italy,
I'll come to you, Egypt. From still.
So, thank you, Excellency, and first of all, let me join previous speakers congratulating you for convening this event that highlights the strategic importance the Somali leadership attached to the water sector, and that I think I believe fully shares this approach. As a matter of fact, the livelihoods of 70% Somalis are based in crop and livestock production, and they both need water. Access to water is a crucial component for people's life everywhere and is key to the sustainability of health, nutrition, and food security. The deterioration of water supply infrastructure resulted in high water prices in parts of Juba, Galmudug, Bay, Bakool, Iran, Gate regions of South Central Somalia, and across many districts in Puntland and Somaliland. This scenario depicts the sensitivity and fragility of the water supply system, due not only to climate change, but also to lack of investment in water net and irrigation projects, and water harvesting and stocking. That's why Italy devoted so many energy to support Somali efforts in this specific sector. Juba and Shabelle rivers are the most important water resources for Somalia, with high potential for irrigation development in the south. For the past 27 years, the central government of Somalia has limited capacity to monitor the rivers and carry out routine maintenance. But in 2015, 2017, and early 2018, minimal river flows were recorded along Shabelle, with the downstream of the river drying out completely. And we all know, as said by President Warar, not everything relies on Somali responsibility. Village water management resources is also a collective responsibility of states in the region. So Italy is taking an active role in promoting dialogue between the riparian countries for the very first time. But just let me very fast through some of the activities financed by Italy in this sector. IFAD support to agricultural productivity in Somalia for 3.8 million euro. Agriculture's main job creation sector, but producing foodstuff needs water. Italy started supporting the government of Somalia on 2016 to recover the agricultural production capacity in the lower Shabelle region by improving 32 kilometers primo secundario canal flows and about 7 kilometers of Bakoro Canal. Only 20 to 30% of land that was irrigable prior to the civil war can be irrigated at present. The program was crucial to create common economic interests between communities in the area and therefore for reducing the incentives for them to engage in conflict. Food security promotion for pastoralists and agro-pastoralists in Puntland. The project is mainly located in Iskushuban region. And then we have Bozazo water net improvement. The main economic city of Puntland, Bosaso Port, is more and more suffering by water shortage. We are financing this project jointly with the European Union. Many of these activities have been implemented also in strict cooperation, coordination with the Minister of Agriculture is getting one of our main partners in this sector. And looking at the future, we have Middle Shabelle Agriculture and Disaster Prevention River Program for 7.2 million euros. The program is still under discussion with the federal and local government of the Southwest. The activities will focus mainly on the Shabelle riverbed maintenance in order to prevent floods in the Beltway area and rehabilitating reservoir structures along the river. Thank you, Excellency.
Egypt.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, Egypt understands very well the seriousness of the problem of water in Somalia, being itself one of the most arid countries in the world, and with the most serious water scarcity. Ourselves in Egypt, we are engaged in a long process of water management, including, of course, the reutilization of water. Now we have reached 3 to 4 times, I think one of the highest level in the world, maybe after Israel. We have implemented desalination programs, and we're also implementing a better management, better way to manage for management of water resources. Also by the reduction of the waste. We have been engaged in a very long process in that regard, given the seriousness of our problem. But let me, Your Excellency, emphasize something here. I have heard many times interlocutors here talking about aquifers as if they are renewable sources of water. Everybody knows, and especially the developmental specialists, that underground water is not a renewable source of water. And using it as if it is a renewable source is a big mistake. This water should be reserved for the future generations, Your Excellency. And its use must be done in a very minimal way. So here I would like to say that we have 2 sources of water. The transboundaries river, the river that are inside the same territory, and then we have the aquifers that are not renewable. Once we use them, it's finished, we cannot renew them again. It takes hundreds and hundreds of years to renew them, especially in countries without rainfall. It's a big problem. So, Your Excellency, here I want to emphasize, and I will end up by this, that transboundary rivers, and here I talk about Shabelle, should be subject of the biggest interest. Instead of going directly to aquifers and underground water, we need to emphasize on transboundaries water, on the rivers that are renewable sources of water. And here Egypt can provide its experience in negotiation, even though it was not very successful, but we can give our experience to Ethiopia or to Somalia with our negotiation with Ethiopia that undergoing as we are speaking now. So this is what I wanted to say, Your Excellency. Thank you very much.
Thank you. UK.
Thank you very much. Quick to make 4 points. First, we support the strategy and the need for better water management here in Somalia, which is key to resilience, development and long-term economic growth. Just to point out that we do support water grant programs and resilience work, and we will continue to do so. I did want to highlight 2 things, which I think are both as we move forward, for water and for natural resources more generally to be managed as a common good, and I think that that's something that has come out in the comments on the strategy, but also from ministers and other colleagues. And the second is that the care and attention that needs to be paid that doesn't fuel conflict or grievances over water, something else which has been identified. And I think this is really a commitment that needs to be undertaken as we move forward, both with designing strategy, but implementing programs in this important area. Thank you.
Thank you. US.
Thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you for convening all of us ministers. Thank you so much, presidents. Thank you for coming today as well. I think my colleague from DFID just stole all my thunder because I think he read my notes. Sitting next to me. But I have to say I agree with everything I've heard tonight. I'd like to thank the SRSG who I believe was the first to recognize that many of us do an awful lot through our humanitarian assistance in water. I know the agency I represent does, and but as the SRSG said, it is not sustainable. And I would say that probably 20% of our non-humanitarian assistance to Somalia responds to emergency water and sanitation and hygiene needs. And that's not a trivial amount. It's about $22 million a year. In my development budget, I don't get a lot of money for water, so it's right now hard for us to respond to the needs that you're promoting, which are very important needs, and we try to do that through our agriculture and livestock programs as well. We need to find a way to meet these needs, working together as a community with the government of Somalia. And so I know we all strive to do that, and we will continue to do it. One of the things that Damon just mentioned is very true, and we need to think about how we can, through the monies we do have, how we can better prevent needs from arising on a recurring basis, as the SRSG mentioned, because they're not sustainable. And that requires that we invest more in building community resilience. And so we need to focus on those things that we can change. At USAID, we're making more deliberate efforts to link our humanitarian stabilization, which is another area that I heard mentioned, and it's a very important area because, as the president of Southwest State mentioned, water resources are part of conflict and part of reconciliation, and we get at that problem through stabilization. But going back to what I was saying, so we make more deliberate efforts to link our humanitarian stabilization and development efforts, starting at USAID, starting in the Bacol and Bai regions, and we hope that the experience we're gathering there can provide a concrete example for how the federal government's recovery and resilience framework can work. So we're working in that area, trying out new concepts in resilience and applying that and trying to learn. So we hope to be able to work together and learn together and then apply those concepts and lessons learned to other areas of the country. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. We thank the US for this. Save the children.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khaire, Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, other government officials, representatives of donors and embassies, UN agencies, and colleagues from the NGOs, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Prime Minister, His Excellency, the Prime Minister,
and other speakers emphasized the significance of water. And I want to start with Somali saying which says, "Biyaha wa noloshana wa biyo." Life is water, and water is life. A wise man said long ago, if there is magic in this planet, it is contained in water. So I want to contribute to what has already been said in terms of the way forward and what needs to be done in the next 5 years, as the Prime Minister said. And I want to mention a few points about harvesting of rainwater for climate change adaptation and building of community resilience in Somalia. I'm not presenting a research paper or a technical concept note, but I want to remind ourselves what we already know in order to encourage ourselves to support the communities and the government in managing one of major natural resources in Somalia, which is water. Recurrent drought, displacement, rural-urban migration, poor infrastructure, poor rural asset base, and low literacy are major factors that contribute to vulnerability to shocks and high poverty levels in Somalia. In order to reduce vulnerability and achieve sustainable economic growth, multi-sector and integrated approach is necessary to provide comprehensive resilience package for communities. There is a need to put more emphasis on not only household livelihood support and income generating activities, but also the basic services required for human capital development, including clean water, health, and education. This will only be possible if we are able to manage water resources correctly and use wisely. The economic growth of any given community heavily depends on proper management of its natural resources, and water is one major resource that can transform the lives of the people in Somalia if managed very well. Therefore, strategic use of scarce water, including watershed management and harvesting of rainwater, is vital for resilience building and sustainable economic development. Rainfall is low and erratic in Somalia, but sometimes it rains heavily, and it is estimated that Somalia receives approximately 200 cubic meter of rainwater annually. Regardless of the amount of rain and water received, rainwaters are not captured, and huge amount of water are wasted every rainy season through seasonal rivers and streams that take water to the sea. Also, it is believed that evapotranspiration is greater than rainfall in the entire country. Experts estimate that Somalia is among 13 African countries that will face serious water scarcity by 2025 because of poor water infrastructure. A country is said to be water scarce when its annual per capita water availability falls beyond 1,000 cubic meter. And Somalia is believed already to have less than 500 cubic meters per year. This was mentioned UNECA report in 2020. Despite all challenges, Somalia still has potential to have a significant amount of rainwater using appropriate technology in areas where considerable runoff is generated. Rainwater harvesting would contribute to mitigating the effect of drought as well as floods, thus enabling community to invest in livelihood activities. The twin challenges of drought and floods, as already mentioned, can be mitigated by constructing huge water reservoirs and dams to store flash flood water that can be used during the dry periods for irrigation, livestock, and domestic use. Rainwater harvesting is the best option to use water runoff in better way by capturing and storing when rainwater is abundant. Currently, the human population and livestock in most of the drought-prone areas in Somalia depend on surface water harvesting structures such as small ponds and barkads. These usually dry up quickly, resulting in serious shortage of water, which sometimes causes loss of livestock and human life. Also, water in these reservoirs are usually polluted with organic matters, silt, and sometimes human waste and garbage. Other commonly used water sources in dry lands are boreholes for both livestock and domestic use. Boreholes also dry up or collapse after sometimes because of overutilization. Drilling of many boreholes is not good for the environment in the long term. Boreholes have two negative impacts in the environment. One, they deplete the underground water quickly, and they cause soil erosion and deforestation, hence environmental degradation. Rainwater harvesting through construction of big dams will enrich underground water, and it helps food production, prevents deforestation, and complements the use of other water resources. Rainwater harvesting will therefore mitigate the devastating effect of climate change, and harvesting rainwater requires significant investment, and international community should support Somalia government and its communities. This endeavor is in line with the Somalia government's commitment on climate change adaptation and resilience as stipulated in the mutual
thank you now.
accountability framework.
Thank you very much. We only allow a few minutes before we conclude, so I would request you to conclude if you can, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to say lastly, we as partners of Somalia government also commit to support the government in providing both technical and financial resources in exploiting, managing natural resources, including water harvesting. And I'm very happy to see the commitment from African Development, World Bank, and African Development Bank, World Bank, and other donors to support this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Save the Children. Final comments from the League of Arab States, very briefly before we conclude.
Thank you, Excellency. Excellency, Prime Minister of Somalia, thank you for convening this important gathering and for inviting the League of Arab States to take part in this gathering. Indeed, the information shared by the interlocutors, both from the federal government side as well as international partners, are of high value for any international strategy to assist water sector in Somalia. I hope future events regarding the Partners Forum include also always an event on the water resources, since it was rightly said that water defines the future of peace and security and development in Somalia and even in the whole of Africa. Excellency, I have the honor to inform that the League of Arab States is in full readiness to sign an agreement on the Somali Water Technical Assistance Program with the federal government of Somalia. This agreement that was presented to the League by your government a year ago is now ready and cleared for signature. The purpose of the agreement is to provide a framework of cooperation and technical assistance between Somalia, the League of Arab States, and the Water Council, the Arab Water Council, in one, establishing a national water management authority in Somalia, two, implementing the Mogadishu 2030 integrated urban water management strategic vision, three, national integrated water resources management for Somalia. The exact dates of the signature were discussed earlier today with Her Excellency, the Minister of Energy and Water. I have to add that another agreement is ready to be signed also between the federal government of Somalia and the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development, as well as the League of Arab States, related to harvesting drain and flows water for supplement and irrigation and availing drinking water for livestock. Thank you, Excellency.
China.
Okay, thank Thank you, Excellency. Your Excellency, Premier Minister, I have honor to attend this evening meeting. This meeting is very important. So, first of all, water is very important to human beings. And without water, human beings cannot survive. This is a simple reason. So because of impact of climate change, drought and lack of rain in Somali, agricultural production and livestock are seriously affected. So how to solve a problem of water is nothing but rain, well, drilling, and desalination. Of course, the desalination is high, is very high, and it needs electric support. Without electricity, it is difficult to desalinate seawater. Somali can develop their solar power, wind power, and another power. It is a good way to solve a problem of water shortage by drilling wells. But geographical exploration is needed. Topography of Somali is high in north and low in the south. Therefore, depth of drilling wells varies, and it is estimated that 100 to 500 meters will be needed. So every well is about $120,000 to $200,000. So China constructed 13 wells of water wells outside Hargeisa in 1973. So it provides water of 300,000 population in Hargeisa. You know, from 1960 to 1991, China constructed 89 projects, including reservoir and dams of water. So, Somali needs to build its own qualified drilling company, and the international community provides assistance as far as possible. By drilling wells, a humanitarian crisis can be effectively alleviated. That's right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that exhausts my list, and I am very grateful for the donors to have contributed to the line ministers, to the federal member states, to everyone and those who've organized this important water event. I'm very pleased to see it is part of the priorities we set for the mutual accountability framework that we will all of us work on. Very well known that we've said in this country, we've been in many years between hope and despair. More hope so now than it has ever been. It's my argument. It is said here now, we have these cycles between floods and droughts, and we need to find a solution to that, and that's why we're here. Therefore, I've asked my minister and my office and the cabinet to develop a 5-year strategy for all of us to tackle this. When that strategy is ready and the donors will be invited to take part to help us develop the strategy, I will convene another meeting where we take stock of where we are on the next steps. For now, I think it is very good to see the initiatives that are coming from all of you and the support pledged. So we look forward to together putting in place a strategy that will last many years for the Somali people. And with that note, thank you very much and see you all tomorrow.